And today, we got a crazy one, man. Tory Lanez. Was he locked up the whole time for no reason? That he gets stabbed 14 times a day. Like, this is crazy work. So without further ado, let's do our homework. Let's go right into it. Let's go.
His attorneys are calling on Governor Newsom to pardon sentence, insisting they have new evidence Lanez didn't shoot superstar Megan Thee Stallion, but it was instead her former best friend, Kelsey Harris. And they say Harris's one-time bodyguard, Bradley James, was spurred by conscience to come forward.
Mr. James informed Unite the People that he was witness to the conversation Miss Harris had where she stated she had the gun, she fired it 3 times. In essence, Mr. Peterson never shot anyone.
We didn't hear back from Stallion's attorney and couldn't reach Harris for comment.
And having made my peace with God, I said, okay, God, is this how it's supposed to end for me? And God said no. God told him, do not give up.
The family and legal team insist Lanez was never given a fair trial, raising questions about the prosecution and investigation, but now say Lanez can't wait for the appellate process to play out.
The bodyguard basically said his conscience was weighing on him that bro is locked up. The family is saying they've been had this evidence. They was waiting for the appeals court. Now, I want to know, since Megan Thee Stallion took the stand and testified and all that, if he's proven to be innocent, what happens to her? Ah, man. That's the question I had. What happens to her if he gets found innocent? I know there's going to be some civil action. Civil action for a lot of people. Civil action against Megan Thee Stallion, civil action against Rock Nation, civil action against the best friend. Man, civil action against LAPD, against the DA. Tory Lanez is coming for a major settlement bag. Now, besides the civil, that's what I'm saying, is I don't know the criminal retaliation for you getting up on the stand saying somebody did something and you lied completely. I know there's perjury, so I guess I had to look up how much time perjury holds. But let's keep doing the homework. Let's go.
I told all y'all close to a year ago, well, even prior to, Tory didn't shoot that girl. I told y'all, Tory did not shoot that girl. All y'all that was pro this, pro that, now y'all got to pay attention to the bigger play. Y'all heard the lady. See, I didn't know nothing about the security guard coming forward, telling the truth. I knew that the DNA came back 100% not him. And they kept it from him doing trial and they used the other one. That said it could be, maybe it can't be. It was 3 tests. 2 of them came back 100% not him after the fact. I told y'all Tory didn't shoot that girl. Then the day after, they go submit the new evidence of the security guard saying he witnessed who pulled the trigger. Tory get hit 14 times.
Right. I said the same thing. All this come out and then he gets stabbed 14 times. Like he said, I'll be agreeing with everything Wack say, but Wack definitely been saying Tory did not do this, and he said you gotta watch out for the bigger play. What that is, we shall find out. Let's keep doing our homework. Let's go.
I told y'all Monday, I said somebody sent that at him. I talked to him too much. His spirit, his soul, his attitude. I'm listening to people come to his door when he's on his little iPad talking to me. Everybody helping, every 10 out of 10 people. Hey, Tory, you think yeah, I'm gonna make that call. Hey, Tory, thanks, bro, that happened for me. I'm hearing it. You're not gonna get me to believe he just didn't jumped up. He knows appeal date is coming up. And now he tripping. He ain't side with no Crips, with no Bloods. He went in there being Tory Lanez, tending to his business, found a way to help the people on the yard that could never get no help. Nah, man, y'all got to pay this some attention. That lady, she got a point. A day after we submit, after they submit, that we got the security guard saying he witnessed who fired the gun. We got this dude right here ain't nothing about this dude talking about this other bozo talking about Tory disrespected dude's wife on a visit. Man, get the fuck out of here. That ain't even Tory character. That dude, that social media dude, everybody need to unfollow and block dude. You in violation. You a Northano telling us what a Sudanio did with a brother, with a non-affiliate brother. Come on, bro. Who paid you to do that? Who paid you to do that? Free Tory. Bro, be home. That which couldn't kill him only made him stronger. Stay tuned.
Yeah, there's definitely a bigger play involved. It's definitely a bigger play. For all this to come out and then him get stabbed 14 times, like Wack was saying, he helping brothers out on the yard. This was something. It's something else, man. It's a lot more is going to come out. We're going to keep following this story right here. We're going to keep following this story. We're going to keep following this story. We ain't done. We ain't done yet. Let's keep doing our homework. Let's go.
All right, welcome back in here to Live and Now from Fox. I'm AD Max. Let's turn our attention to new developments involving Tory Lanez after a stabbing at a California prison. We do know the alleged attacker. More information here. This courtesy of TMZ, saying the guy who allegedly attacked and stabbed Tory Lanez in prison is serving a life sentence for a murder charge. And this wasn't his first violent incident behind bars. The alleged attacker was identified by authorities as 42-year-old Santino Casio. Prison officials say he's serving a life sentence for second-degree murder and was previously convicted for an in-prison assault with a deadly weapon. So we're following the latest here on Live Now from Fox, and we're also learning more information about new evidence being brought forward in this case involving Tory Lanez. We watched it here on Wednesday as the legal team sought justice in the case of Tory Lanez. They presented new evidence that suggests he never fired the weapon the night Megan Thee Stallion was shot in the Hollywood Hills. Lanez is currently serving a 10-year sentence for the shooting. The legal team alleges she lied about what happened the night she was lost. So let's take you right now out to some of these details here on Live Now from Fox from Los Angeles earlier on today about this new evidence being presented. We'll see if it has any legs in the courts. Let's listen into this here on Live Now.
Here, some really, really compelling new evidence that you've never heard before. Our legal team will explain all of that to you. We will have updates on Tory Lanez, Mr. Peterson, on how he's doing. It's really sad to see the situation that he's in. And we think it's time, enough is enough. It's time to bring the brother home. So with that, I would like to bring up our lead consultant, Mr. Walter Roberts.
Good morning. We are here today to bring to your attention some information Unite the People believes is exculpatory in Mr. Daystar Peterson's case, professionally known as Tory Lanez. Recently, we've been made aware that a member of the media, Mr. Gianno Caldwell, was working on an op-ed for the New York Post regarding Mr. Peterson's innocence. During his work on that op-ed, he became aware of some information in Unite the People's possession regarding a statement that was given to Unite the People by someone with information relevant to that case. The New York Post recently reached out to the prior district attorney, George Gascon, Megan Pete and her representatives, and Kelsey Harris and her representatives. The only party that responded last week was Megan Pete's representatives with a request for more information. A few days later, Mr. Peterson is brutally attacked in his jail cell. Unite the People represents Daystar Peterson in his appellate.
So you're saying that Tory Lanez team sent Megan's team the information basically saying that you lied, and the next day he stabbed up? Let's keep doing our homework.
Appellate process. We filed an appellate brief and a writ of habeas corpus on his behalf. The district attorney's office has already responded. The case is fully briefed. We're just waiting for the appellate court's decision. We were willing to wait for the appellate process to play out, but given that brutal, unprovoked attack, we felt it necessary to come here today to provide you with this information. It is our intention to make a request to the governor to either pardon or commute the sentence of Mr. Peterson, so that when he recovers from this attack, he's not returned to a jail cell, but that he's allowed to go home and recover. Not long ago, Unite the People was approached by a gentleman named Bradley James. Mr. James informed us he was working as the bodyguard and driver for during Mr. Peterson's trial. As such, he was in close proximity and he had privy to conversations she was having with her husband and others. Mr. James informed us he was not under a non-disclosure agreement or a confidentiality agreement and was free to speak with Unite the People, and that he was doing it because his conscience would not let him not speak and leave a man in prison for something he did not do. Mr. James informed Unite the People that he was a witness to the conversation Ms. Harris had, where she stated she had the gun, she fired it 3 times, Mr. Peterson grabbed her arm and knocked it down, and the gun fired 2 more times. In essence, Mr. Peterson never shot anybody, never even touched that gun, never fired the gun. This statement aligns with the statement of the only non-party witness to the case, Mr. Sean Kelly, who at trial testified he saw 2 women fighting, 2 men break up the fight, 1 man grabbed the other one's arm. Gunshots came from the passenger side. The passenger side is where Ms. Harris was sitting. This further iterates that Mr. Peterson did not shoot Miss Pete, did not shoot at Miss Pete, or did not assault Miss Pete. It's just another irregularity in a list of irregularities in this case. For example, there were 3 potential suspects in the car that night, and yet the only DNA sample was taken of Mr. Peterson, even though unknown DNA was found on the gun. Why wasn't Miss Harris's DNA taken? Or was it taken and the information simply never given to the defense? Why wasn't the driver of the car, Mr. Jaquan Smith's DNA taken? Or was it taken and again, simply not given to the defense? We don't know. It should have been taken. It is Unite the People's understanding, regular LAPD practice at a crime scene like that, anybody who's there, the DNA is taken. Another irregularity. Why, at Ms. Harris's police interview, was a non-lawyer, non-family member record company executive allowed to participate? Highly irregular situation. Normally, we see cases, strangers are not allowed in these things, but it was in this case.
What? Hold on, you telling me this is a criminal investigation and they allow a record executive or somebody from the record label in? They're running these inconsistencies down because these are people that's liable. Whoever made these decisions, they're liable. They're negligent in their job and they're liable. So they're talking about the DA who prosecuted this, the detectives. It's going to be a lot of people in trouble. There's going to be a lot of people with the spotlight on them saying, why did you do this? Why did you do that? that led him to prison. We know she got up on the stand and lied. We know that Kelsey got immunity. Now they have to explain why. They have to they have to come up with answers to these inconsistencies. But let's keep doing our homework, man. Free Tory Lanez.
All of these things point to the highly irregular nature of his trial and his conviction. It is our contention that he was wrongly convicted. And while we at first were willing to let the process play out, it is our contention now that if he is not pardoned or released promptly, he may never come out. And that would be the ultimate injustice, is that he gets killed in prison for something he did not do. At this time, I'd like to bring up Mr. Gianno Caldwell, a media member who was working on that op-ed for the New York Post. Thank you.
Thank you, Walter. Good morning. Thank you for coming today. My name is Gianno Caldwell. That is spelled Gianno, Caldwell, Caldwell. I am the founder of the Caldwell Institute for Public Safety at caldwellinstitute.org. I am also a member of the press for almost a decade now. I've been looking into Daystar Peterson's case for almost 6 months now, professionally known as Tory Lanez. And after reviewing the evidence, the reporting, and the legal analysis, I've come to the conclusion that Tory Lanez was railroaded by the former district attorney, George Gascon. He was also wrongly convicted. I believe if Jesus Christ was Tory Lanez's attorney, George Gascon would do whatever in his power to ensure that Tory Lanez lost that case. Tory Lanez's defense team have alleged the withholding of exculpatory evidence, prosecutorial misconduct, among other issues that I was compelled to write an opinion piece for the New York Post. It is true that last week, the New York Post editors reached out to 3 parties, one being George Gascon, Megan Pete's team, and Kelsey Harris. It is also true that Megan's team was the only ones that responded back for that request for comment. I had some glaring questions, and that was the reason for this op-ed. Things didn't make any sense to me, many issues in this case, and I was shocked by the lack of interest from the media to ask very simple questions. There were multiple people with gunshot residue on their hands that night. Why didn't all individuals have the residue tested, their DNA tested on the weapon? That's a legitimate question. According to the prosecution, Tory was excluded from the clip of the gun. And according to Tory's defense team, they said DNA analysis showed that there was a 0.01% chance that Tory touched the actual gun itself. Another piece that stood out to me, the call that the prosecution alleged Tory made confessing to a crime. I listened to that call. I'm sure many of you have as well. I didn't hear a confession. But what really shocked me about it is if my best friend was shot maliciously by someone just 2 or 3 hours before, I wouldn't have answered the call, or if I did, I wouldn't calmly have a conversation with the individual of it. And certainly I would ask, why did you shoot my friend? And more importantly, I would never have given you my current location out of fear of you finishing the job. That was something that stood out to me. I also, in my op-ed, discussed Kelsey Harris pleading the Fifth Amendment. She wasn't accused of anything by Megan Pete or the police, and to my knowledge, she wasn't under any investigation. So why plead the Fifth? What also shocked me is the prosecution gave her immunity. For what? What did she do? Is there an allegation of her doing something? I'm not aware of that. Maybe some of you can answer that question today. During the time of trial, George Gascon, just to take you back to where we were at that particular point, he had just barely won a recall attempt. He lost support in many key demographics of voters. Crime was up in Los Angeles County. And this case would have been a silver bullet for him potentially winning. His policies obviously were bad and people were harmed. So that didn't happen, and thank God it didn't happen. At the heart of this injustice is the misuse of gun enhancement charges, a sentencing tool intended for the most dangerous and violent offenders. In Tory Lanez case, these enhancements were not supported by evidence. But George Gascon, interestingly enough, who is someone who regularly would drop enhancements or not recommend them, chose to provide enhancements to Tory. And in his case, in any given situation, according to legal analysts I've spoken with, he would do 1 or 3 years if he did it without the enhancement. That's interesting. Why did George Gascon choose to pursue these enhancements? You know, there's cases I've been looking through which George Gascon has pursued, many in which he utilized these enhancements. A couple come to mind that I would like to reference here. One, Raymond Danger Gonzalez, a Mexican mafia gang member involved in a premeditated murder of 2 young men in 2017. Despite the brutality of the crime, Gascon didn't recommend enhancements. You premeditated murdered a teenager and another individual, brutal crime. Why would you recommend enhancements, but you would recommend them for Tory? That doesn't make a lot of sense. He also didn't pursue sentencing enhancements for the senseless murder of General Hospital actor Johnny Wichter in Los Angeles in 2024. There's a lot of issues with this case. Many, I think, that the media should be pursuing all angles of it. We should not allow there to be unanswered questions. We should pursue open questions without fear or favor to anyone. That includes Mr. Tory Lanez. In his letter from the Birmingham jail, Dr. Martin Luther King wrote, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." If we take those words seriously, we must act when injustice is allowed to fester in plain sight. I founded the Caldwell Institute for Public Safety after my innocent teenage brother was murdered in Chicago on June 24, 2022. I stand firmly for public safety, for victims' rights, and for holding criminals accountable. But justice also demands that we protect the innocent and stand against politically motivated prosecutions. This is what I believe to happen here. When we imprison the innocent while violent offenders walk free, which is what George Gascon has often done, we undermine the very foundation of our legal system. Mr. Peterson was never given a fair trial, free from bias, political interference, and media-driven pressure. His continued incarceration erodes public trust and diverts focus from the real work of keeping our community safe. Further, while incarcerated, Mr. Peterson was recently stabbed in prison, as many of you know, a tragic incident that underscores the urgency of this situation and the risk to his life while this case remains unaddressed. Governor Newsom, I respectfully urge you to issue a pardon for Daystar Peterson, known as Tory Lanez, in a full and impartial review of his case. California must not be a state where justice is driven by headlines instead of evidence. And in the case of George Gascon, that was often the case. So I encourage everyone here to go to caldwellinstitute.org, CALDWELL, Institute, INSTITUTE.org, and sign the petition. This petition asks for the governor to pardon Tory Lanez. Thank you.
This is serious. This is serious. And it's crazy. Because they're asking the governor of California, Governor Newsom, for a full pardon and a full investigation into the case. They're also pointing the finger at the DA, saying this was a politically motivated incarceration. Another thing is the gun enhancements. If he didn't have the gun enhancements, he would get a 1 to 3, but they hit him with the gun enhancements to give him more time. Why did he do that? Then it's also the best friend, Kelsey. She pleaded the fifth. It gave her immunity. Then there's the fact that there's no gun residue on Tory Lanez's hands. And there's no fingerprints or DNA of Tory Lanez on the pistol. But they don't take everybody's DNA. And when they're questioning, I guess, Meg, they have a record executive in the room. Not a lawyer, not family or friend. I mean, not family, not the lawyer, the record is that. What's up with that? Somebody was pulling strings. Somebody was pulling strings right here. All I know is going to be some repercussions for this. It's going to be some repercussions because they're asking for a pardon in a full investigation into this whole situation. This foul B, this real foul B. Megan Thee Stallion, you got up on stand. You testified and said this happened. You went on ABC, told Gail, you cried and all that. So you tell me all that was a charade? And then when his team let you know that, yo, we about to hit y'all with the earth to let you know that he ain't do it, main cuz gets stabbed 14 times up in the joint. Somebody's pulling the strings, puppet master. Man, listen, as we get more information on this Tory Lanez situation, Chronic Conversation is going to fill you in on everything. So don't worry about it. If you don't see it on the news or you ain't updated, when you tap in with your boy Pete Rose, I got you. This has been another Chronic Conversation react video. Spill Entertainment presents. It's your boy Pete Rose. Until next time, like that, we out.